pregnant with the rival billionaire's heir, and now both families demand she marry him. Hello everyone, before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's return to our main character. The storm had been brewing long before she realized she was standing in the center of it. Ava Hart presses her palm against the chilled window of the clinic's private waiting room, her breath fogging the glass as the truth settles heavy in her chest. Pregnant. 5 weeks. The word echoes like a bell she cannot hear. Her pulse stutters as she silently counts backward. Yes, it lines up with that night, the conference in Chicago, the rooftop after-party, the heat in Noah Hale's eyes when their rivalry slipped and something dangerously human took its place. Noah Hale. The heir to Hale Global, the family empire that has spent 2 decades locked in a cold corporate war with the Hart dynasty. The last man on earth she should have touched. The last man whose child she should be carrying. The clinic door clicks open and the soft scrape of heels signals her mother's arrival. Vivian Hart's expression is sharp enough to cut steel. You're certain, she demands, skipping comfort entirely, her gaze darting to the sonogram sheet Ava instinctively hides against her body. Ava nods, throat tight. Vivian exhales through her nose, calculating, always calculating. The Hales will want a meeting, she says. And they will insist on marriage. The word slams into Ava harder than the diagnosis itself. Marriage? To Noah? Vivian continues, voice low. If this gets out before terms are set, the press will feast. Stock will plummet. Our board will panic. And the Hales, God knows how they'll spin it. Ava forces the words out. I don't want to marry him. Want has nothing to do with it, Vivian snaps. A child between rival heirs is a political bomb. And babies born into war become weapons. You will not allow that. Before Ava can respond, the door swings open again, this time revealing a man. In a charcoal suit, flanked by 2 Hale security officers. He's tall, composed, the kind of presence that fills a room before he speaks. And behind him, stepping into the light, is Noah Hale. Ava's stomach flips, not just with nerves or nausea, but with the unbearable tension of seeing him again. Noah's eyes lock onto her, scanning her face, then lowering to the crumpled sonogram clutched in her fist. His jaw tightens, a single muscle jumping. He steps forward slowly, as if the air itself is dangerous. It's mine, he says quietly, not a question. Ava's voice is a whisper. Yes. The room vibrates with unspoken consequences. The older man, Adrian Hale, Noah's father, smooths his tie before delivering a verdict with the weight of a CEO signing a hostile takeover. Then the solution is simple, he declares. You will marry my son. Ava recoils. Noah stiffens. But Adrian continues, unbothered. This union ends the feud permanently. It stabilizes both families' holdings. It protects the child from scandal. And it preserves the Hale name. Vivian Hart crosses her arms. The Hart family agrees. The marriage will proceed. Ava shakes her head, heart pounding. Stop deciding my life for me. Noah finally speaks, voice rough. She's right. You can't force this. Adrian cuts him a cold look. I can. And I will. A merger signed in blood is still a merger. Vivian lifts her chin. A wedding announcement within 30 days. A contract drafted within 48 hours. Ava feels the walls closing in, her breath thinning. She stumbles back toward the exam table, gripping it for balance. Noah watches her, something conflicted flashing through his eyes, guilt, duty, fear, maybe even protectiveness. Adrian Hale turns toward the door, already issuing orders into his phone. Vivian follows. The security team exits. Only Noah stays. The room dims as the door clicks shut behind them. For a moment, neither speaks. Then Noah steps closer, voice low enough that only she can hear. Ava, if there was another way, I'd take it. Her throat tightens. There is another way, she whispers. Let me raise this child alone. His eyes soften with something that makes her pulse skip. I can't. Not because of the feud. Because it's my child too. She looks away, heat pricking her eyes. She never asked for this war to become her life. She never asked for Noah Hale to ruin everything with one reckless night she hasn't stopped thinking about since. And now both of their families expect a wedding, one built on obligation, not love. Noah reaches for the door, then pauses. Ava, whatever happens next, I won't let them hurt you. She doesn't trust him. She can't afford to. But as the door closes behind him, her hand drifts unconsciously to her stomach, and she wonders, terrified, if this contract marriage forced by two ruthless empires will become the cage that destroys her, or the one place she finally learns what love is meant to feel like. When Ava steps out of the clinic hours later, the sky has already shifted into the pale gold of early evening, but nothing inside her feels calm. Her pulse is still racing with the weight of what both families decided for her without hesitation, as if her future were nothing more than an item on a corporate agenda. She pulls her coat tighter and hurries down the steps when she hears someone matching her pace behind her. Noah. He keeps a respectful distance, his hands in his pockets, his expression unreadable. Let me give you a ride home, he says quietly. Ava shakes her head. I am fine. But he steps closer, his voice dropping. Ava, the press already got a tip. There are cameras outside your building. Her stomach clenches. How did they find out? He exhales, jaw tight. Someone in the clinic sold the information. My father's team got the alert a few minutes ago. Ava closes her eyes, dread flooding her. Her apartment is in a busy area. Neighbors talk. Paparazzi could easily spin stories before she even processes what is happening. Noah gestures toward a black SUV parked at the curb. Please. Let me get you somewhere safe. She hesitates, but safety is no longer a choice. She gets inside. The SUV glides through traffic, tinted windows shutting out the world. Noah sits across from her, elbows on his knees, watching her carefully. She looks out the window, voice barely above a whisper. I do not want this to ruin everything. It will not, he says, but she hears the doubt beneath his promise. They stop in front of a high-rise she recognizes immediately, the Hale Tower. No, she whispers. I cannot stay here. It is the only building my family controls completely, he says. No press. No leaks. No access. You will be safe. She swallows hard, then follows him through the private entrance and into the elevator. The ride is silent. He presses the button for the 38th floor. When the doors open, she steps into a warm, modern suite overlooking the city. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Clean lines. Too much luxury for how small she feels inside. This is temporary, Noah assures her. Just until the families finalize the arrangement. The word stings. Arrangement. Marriage was supposed to be a promise, a choice, not a strategy. Ava moves toward the window, watching headlights blur across the avenues below. How are you so calm? She finally asks. Noah stands beside her, his reflection tall and tense in the glass. I am not calm, he says. I just learned how to hide it. Something in his voice pulls her eyes to his. For the first time today, he looks human. Not the rival heir. Not the powerful son of a billionaire. Just a man who also feels trapped between duty and desire. Ava, he says carefully, I know you do not trust me. And I know you have every reason not to. But I will try to make this less impossible. She lets out a shaky breath. You cannot fix this. Maybe not, he admits. But I can stand with you in it. Before she can answer, his phone buzzes sharply. He glances at the screen and his expression darkens. The families want a meeting tomorrow morning. Both boards present. They intend to draft the marriage contract immediately. Ava's heart drops. Tomorrow. Everything is moving faster than she can breathe. Noah pockets his phone and steps closer, his voice softer now. You do not have to face them alone. Whatever they say, whatever they push for, just look at me. I will handle the rest. She wants to believe him. Wants to think he means it. But faith is a luxury she cannot afford. Still, as she stands in the glowing silence of the suite, her hand instinctively shielding her stomach, she realizes something terrifying. Whether she trusts Noah or not, whether she wants him or not, their lives are already tied together. And tomorrow, in front of two empires ready to weaponize her unborn child, she will learn just how far Noah Hale is willing to go to protect something that never should have existed between them in the first place. The next morning arrives far too quickly, the city still wrapped in a pale grey haze when Ava steps into the private elevator beside Noah. She barely slept, her mind replaying every word from the clinic, every warning from her mother, every promise Noah tried to offer in the dim light of the suite. Now, as they descend toward the conference level of Hale Tower, she feels the weight of two empires pressing down on her chest. Noah stands quietly, dressed in a tailored suit, his shoulders stiff with tension he refuses to show. When the elevator doors open, a wall of security greets them, followed by the low hum of executives already inside the boardroom. Noah leans closer, his voice just above a whisper. Stay by me. No one will speak to you without going through me first. Ava nods, even though her pulse is pounding so loudly she can barely hear anything else. The doors open to reveal an oval table filled with both the Hale and Hart families, their legal teams, and senior board members from both corporations. It feels less like a meeting and more like a tribunal. Vivian Hart sits with perfect posture, her expression unreadable. Adrian Hale stands at the head of the table, clasping a stack of documents. He does not acknowledge Ava with even a glance. Noah pulls out a chair for her before taking the one beside her, positioning himself like a shield. Adrian clears his throat. We will begin with the first non-negotiable term. The marriage ceremony must occur within the next 21 days. This ensures stability in the media narrative and investor confidence. Ava stiffens. 21 days. Less than 1 month to become Noah Hale's wife. Vivian nods approvingly. Agreed. The sooner the announcement is made, the better. Noah's jaw ticks, but he remains silent. Adrian continues. Second term, the child will legally carry the Hale family name, and full medical decisions will be made through Hale-appointed physicians. Ava feels heat rush to her face. Excuse me, she says, trying to keep her voice steady. I should have a say in decisions about my own pregnancy. Adrian finally looks at her, his expression cold. This is not personal. It is business. The child represents the future of two corporations. Noah's voice cuts in sharply. She is not a corporation, and neither is our child. A few executives exchange startled looks. Adrian narrows his eyes at his son. If you intend to take this seriously, you will need to behave seriously. Noah leans forward, his tone flat but controlled. I am taking this very seriously. Which is why Ava has a voice in every decision. Non-negotiable. A flicker of approval sparks in Vivian's eyes, but she quickly masks it. Adrian's lips thin. Fine. Her voice will be acknowledged, but the final decision still favors the Hale medical team. Ava feels Noah tense beside her, but he nods tightly to avoid escalating things too quickly. Adrian moves to the next page. Item 3. The marriage will remain legally binding for a minimum term of 1 year. Early termination requires approval from both boards to prevent negative market impact. Ava grips the edge of her seat. 1 year of pretending. 1 year of carrying a child under the microscope of two families who see her as a bargaining chip. Noah speaks again, voice steady. Ava's comfort and safety come first. If she feels threatened or unsafe at any point, the contract is void. Adrian gives a humorless laugh. This is not about comfort. This is about stability. You are letting emotion cloud judgment. Noah's eyes harden. If there is one thing I learned growing up in this family, it is that you cannot run a future on fear and control. The room falls uncomfortably silent. Vivian finally interjects, her voice crisp. Let us proceed. We all know why we are here. We need terms that protect the companies, yes, but we also need terms that protect Ava. Adrian looks irritated but flips the page. Item 4, public appearances will be mandatory. Events, interviews, galas. You will present as a united couple. Ava swallows hard. She can already imagine the flashes of cameras, the invasive questions, the constant scrutiny. Adrian continues without pause. Item 5, a public announcement of the engagement will be released by the end of this week. Ava's chest tightens. She whispers to Noah, I am not ready for the entire world to know. He lowers his voice to hers. Then we will slow it down. Adrian slams the folder shut. You will not slow anything down. You will sign these terms, both of you, today. We cannot allow hesitation. Noah rises from his chair, the scrape echoing across the silent boardroom. We are not signing anything today. Shock ripples through the room. Adrian stands as well, fury flashing across his face. You do not get to dictate this. Noah steps fully between Ava and the table. Watch me. And just like that, the entire balance of power shifts, as every person in the room realizes that this contract marriage will not unfold the way either empire expected, because Noah Hale is no longer negotiating for business. He is negotiating for Ava, and for the child that has already changed everything. The silence that follows Noah's declaration feels like a pressure chamber, heavy and airless, as every executive in the room tries to process the fact that the Hale heir has just refused to sign the contract that both families spent the night drafting. Adrian Hale's jaw clenches in a way that tells Ava this defiance is something he has not seen from his son in years. Vivian Hart folds her hands in front of her, observing quietly, as if evaluating every ripple of power shifting across the room. Noah stays standing, positioned between Ava and the table, his posture firm enough that no one dares speak. Finally, Adrian breaks the silence. Sit down, Noah, he orders, voice low and dangerous. We will not create a spectacle when both corporations are at stake. Noah does not move. You already created a spectacle by trying to force her into a corner. I will not be part of that. Adrian steps forward. This is not a negotiation, son. This is responsibility. Responsibility, Noah repeats, his voice rough, does not mean control. And it does not mean treating Ava as an asset. Several Hale board members shift uncomfortably. Vivian lifts an eyebrow but remains expressionless. Adrian turns his attention to Ava, as if attempting a softer tone. Miss Hart, surely you understand the necessity of stability. We are doing this for the good of your child. Ava's fingers curl around the arm of her chair. She hates the way he says your child as though the baby belongs to the Hale family more than to her. My child needs safety, she says quietly, not a contract that gives two corporations the right to decide everything. Adrian's expression hardens. Without a clear agreement, the media will tear you apart. Investors will panic. You will face scrutiny from every direction. Noah steps in before she can respond. I said we are not signing anything today. He reaches for Ava's hand, not dramatically, but with a steady, deliberate gesture that carries more weight than any speech. I am taking Ava out of here, he announces. We will reconvene when the terms include her safety and her rights, not just the company's interests. Adrian slams his palm on the table. If you walk out now, you jeopardize everything this family has built. Noah meets his father's eyes without flinching. Then maybe what this family has built needs to change. Gasps ripple across the room. Ava Hart exhales slowly, perhaps the closest thing to approval Ava has ever seen from her mother. Adrian's voice rises. You cannot protect her from the consequences of this feud. You are being foolish. No, Noah says, I am being human. He guides Ava toward the door, and although her legs feel shaky, she follows, choosing the hallway's uncertainty over the boardroom's suffocating pressure. The moment the doors close behind them, she exhales a breath she did not realize she had been holding. They walk together down the long corridor, the sound of their footsteps echoing on the polished floor. You did not have to do that, she murmurs. Yes, I did, Noah replies. You are not going to be bullied into a marriage contract. Not by them. Not by anyone. They enter the elevator, and as the doors glide shut, the tension finally cracks through her voice. What happens now, Noah? The press, the families, the contract, everything is spiraling. Noah rubs the back of his neck, looking unusually vulnerable. We take control of the story before they do. How? She asks. He takes a slow breath. Tonight, there is a charity gala hosted by the Hale Foundation. Every major investor, media outlet, and board member will be there. My father expects me to attend with you as a display of compliance. Ava's pulse quickens. Noah, I cannot face cameras right now. I am not ready. I know, he says gently. But this might be the only place where we can show them that we are not pawns. If we walk in together, on our terms, not theirs, we set the tone for the public narrative. It buys us leverage when the contract is rewritten. Ava swallows hard. So you want us to perform? Noah shakes his head. Not perform. Just stand united. She looks away, overwhelmed. This feels impossible. He steps closer, his voice steady and warm. You are stronger than you think. And tonight, I will not leave your side. A moment passes, quiet and fragile, before Ava nods. All right. We go together. Noah exhales in relief, then presses the elevator button for the lobby. I will arrange everything. Stylist, transportation, protection. You will not be alone for a single moment tonight. As the elevator descends, Ava places a hand on her stomach, feeling the faintest sense of resolve forming beneath the fear. Tonight, the world will see them for the first time since the scandal broke. And for better or worse, the two of them will face it together. Unaware that before the night ends, the gala will deliver the first true test of whether Noah's promise to protect her is something he can actually keep. By the time evening settles over the city, Ava finds herself standing in front of a full-length mirror inside the Hale Tower private styling suite, barely recognizing the woman staring back at her. Her hair has been swept into soft waves, her makeup natural but luminous, and the dark navy gown Noah's stylist selected drapes over her like a calm ocean. It is elegant without being revealing, protective without being heavy, and for the first time since the scandal broke, she feels almost steady. Almost. The stylist clips a final clasp at her shoulder. You look beautiful, she says, stepping back. Ava forces a small smile. Thank you. But beauty is the last thing on her mind. The gala is only an hour away, and her heartbeat has not slowed since morning. A soft knock sounds at the door. When it opens, Noah stands there in a black suit that fits him like it was engineered rather than tailored. There is a warmth in his eyes she is not used to seeing. He takes her in slowly, as if trying to memorize her. Ava, he says quietly, you look. The sentence trails off, but she hears the rest in the way his breath catches. She smooths the fabric at her waist. Do I look like someone who can survive a room full of reporters and billionaires? More than that, he says. You look like someone they will never forget. His voice is steady, calm, the opposite of what she feels inside. Noah offers his arm. Ready. She hesitates, then takes it. The moment her hand rests against his sleeve, something in her settles, just slightly. The ride to the gala is quiet. The Hale Foundation charity event is one of the biggest in the city, held at a glass museum built entirely to impress donors, investors, and anyone who cares about power. As the SUV approaches, she sees the flashing lights before she hears them. Cameras. Reporters. Crowds. A wall of noise and anticipation. They will ask questions, Noah says gently. You do not have to answer any. The vehicle stops. The door opens. Instantly, the world erupts. Noah, is it true she is pregnant with the Hale heir? Ava, were you keeping it a secret? Is the wedding arranged or forced? Is the feud over? The questions crash like waves, flashbulbs bursting across her vision, but Noah keeps her tucked against him, guiding her up the steps with controlled confidence. To the outside world, he looks unbothered, protective, almost possessive in the way his hand stays over hers. Inside the museum's grand entrance, the noise fades, replaced by the low hum of music and murmured conversation beneath glittering chandeliers. Every head turns toward them. Ava draws in a breath. Remember, Noah whispers, you are not alone. They walk deeper into the gala, navigating conversations, whispers, and curious glances. A group of investors approaches, and Noah introduces Ava with a practiced ease that makes her feel more like a partner than a pawn. She meets handshakes, answers polite greetings, stays close to Noah's side. Slowly, she begins to breathe again. Then a familiar voice cuts sharply through the crowd. Well, well. The bride-to-be. Ava stiffens as Adrian Hale steps toward them, a forced smile on his face. I see you have made quite the entrance. Noah's posture shifts in an instant. Do not start, he warns. This is not the place. Adrian ignores him, turning to Ava. You look lovely tonight. I trust the stylist followed the guidelines I sent. Ava blinks. Guidelines. Noah's jaw tightens. I told you to stay out of this. Adrian offers a dismissive wave. Appearances matter, Noah. If she is going to represent the Hale name, she is not a representative, Noah snaps. She is a human being. A few nearby guests turn to stare. Adrian lowers his voice. You are playing with fire. Your defiance this morning set both boards on edge. If you do not secure a united front tonight, they will move forward without your consent. Ava's stomach twists. What does that mean? Adrian's gaze sharpens. It means you can either play the part required of you, or the board will take measures to protect company interests. Noah steps in front of her. Enough. Adrian crosses his arms, studying his son. You have changed, Noah. She has made you reckless. Noah's voice is calm but ice cold. I am not reckless. I am finally awake. Adrian opens his mouth to respond, but the museum lights dim slightly as the presenter steps onto the stage, calling guests to attention. Noah leans close to Ava. Come with me. There is something I need to show you. He guides her toward a quieter corner of the museum, away from Adrian, away from the noise. They stop before a large installation wall covered in hundreds of tiny glass tiles that shimmer like stars. Ava frowns. What is this? Every year, Noah says softly, the foundation adds a new piece dedicated to a pledge or a promise. She touches one of the tiles. Why bring me here? He takes a slow breath, his eyes steady on hers. Because tonight, I am making mine. Before she can speak, the lights shift again, illuminating a small blank tile engraved with two words, for Ava. Her breath catches. The gesture is not romantic, not dramatic, but deeply intentional, the kind of promise that cannot be spun by press or controlled by corporations. Noah holds her gaze. Whatever happens next, I stand with you. Not the board, not the feud, not our families. You. The world around them fades into soft light and murmured applause from the main hall, and for the first time since everything collapsed, Ava feels something break open in her chest. Not fear. Not duty. Something dangerously close to hope. unaware that someone across the room is watching them with narrowed eyes, ready to strike the moment that hope becomes a threat. For a moment, the glow of the illuminated tile wraps Ava in a quiet sense of safety, but the feeling evaporates the second she senses a shift in the room's energy. Conversations hush. People turn. A ripple of tension moves across the gala like a cold wind. She looks toward the entrance and sees a woman striding into the hall with the kind of confidence that makes the crowd part without being asked. Tall, poised, wrapped in a crimson gown that demands attention, her expression carries equal parts beauty and danger. Noah stiffens beside Ava. "Oh no," he mutters under his breath. "Who is she?" Ava asks, her pulse picking up. "Mara Hale," Noah says. "My cousin. And the one person in this family who should never have found out about us this way." Mara's eyes lock onto them instantly, narrowing with sharp calculation. She approaches with slow, elegant steps, stopping close enough that Ava can feel the temperature drop between them. "Noah," Mara says, her voice sugar-sweet but edged in steel. "When I heard the news, I assumed it was a joke. But here you are, parading your little scandal in front of the entire city." Noah steps forward. "Mara, do not start." Mara ignores him and shifts her attention to Ava. Her smile is polite, but her eyes are knives. "So you are the reason our family stock dipped 8 points this week. I have to say, I expected someone stronger." Ava feels heat rise in her chest, but before she can speak, Mara continues. "Do you have any idea what your pregnancy has done to this family? To the board? To my position in the line of succession?" Noah's jaw clenches. "Your position? This has nothing to do with you." "Everything has to do with me," Mara hisses. "Because while you were playing rebel prince, I was the one keeping this family from collapsing under scrutiny. And now look." She gestures toward the crowd. Every investor in this room is wondering whether the Hale dynasty is stable enough to trust. Ava finally speaks, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "I am not trying to harm your family." Mara gives a sharp, mocking laugh. "You already have. You gave Noah a child. That makes you the biggest threat in this room." Noah steps between them. "Mara, back off. You think protecting her makes you noble." Mara sneers. "All it does is make you weak." Noah's eyes darken. "I am not weak." "Really?" Mara crosses her arms. "Because the board is voting tomorrow morning. They want you removed from the succession plan. They think you have become emotionally compromised." Ava's stomach drops. "What?" Mara leans in, lowering her voice so only they can hear. "They are replacing him with me." Noah pales, and Ava instantly understands the gravity of the blow. Losing his place is not just symbolic. It means losing influence, authority, the ability to protect their child from the inside. Mara's smile widens. "I told them Noah would self-destruct if pushed hard enough. It seems I was right." Ava feels a surge of protectiveness she did not expect. She steps closer to Noah. "You do not get to call him weak just because he cares about something." Mara raises an eyebrow. "Something? Or someone?" Her gaze drops toward Ava's stomach. "The child is leverage. You think I do not know that? You think the board will let a baby shift the balance of power? No, my dear. They will use it as they see fit." Noah's voice turns cold. "Mara, walk away." "Or what?" she challenges. "You will hit me." "No," Noah says, stepping even closer, "but I will tell every investor in this room what you did last year in Dubai." Mara's smirk falters for the first time. "You would not dare." "Try me," Noah says quietly. Panic flickers in Mara's eyes. She straightens her posture, recomposes her expression, and forces a brittle smile. "Fine. Enjoy your evening. While you still have a place in this family." She turns and walks away, leaving a trail of tension behind her. Ava exhales shakily. Noah, what is happening? He runs a hand through his hair. They are trying to push me out. And if they succeed, I lose the only leverage I have to protect you and the baby. Ava's breath catches. And the contract? They will rewrite it without me, he says. They will give control to the board. Tomorrow. To anyone who wants to use our child as a bargaining chip. Ava presses a hand to her stomach. Noah, we cannot let that happen. Noah looks at her with an expression that is equal parts determination and fear. Then we need to act fast. Tonight proves one thing. They are willing to go further than I thought. How far? Ava whispers. Noah meets her eyes. Far enough to try to take everything from us. The words hang in the air like a warning. And neither of them realize that across the room, Mara has already made her first move, whispering instructions to a board member whose eyes keep flicking toward Ava with unsettling intent. The moment Mara disappears into the crowd, Noah's entire body shifts into a quiet alertness, the kind that tells Ava he is no longer thinking like the conflicted heir she has come to know but like a man preparing for an attack he knows is coming. The music swells through the museum, but beneath it Ava senses something else, a tension weaving through the air like an invisible thread. She follows Noah as he guides her toward a quieter hallway near the museum's side wing, his hand protective at the small of her back. Do not panic, he murmurs, though his own eyes are scanning every face that passes. They will not do anything drastic here. Too many cameras. What will they do? Ava whispers. Discredit me? Force the contract through? Rewrite everything without your consent? Maybe, Noah says, but that is not what worries me right now. Then what does? Ava asks. Noah stops walking, lowering his voice. Mara did not come here alone. Someone is helping her. Someone with enough influence to move votes on the board. Ava's heartbeat stutters. And they are targeting us. They are targeting control, Noah corrects. And right now, the fastest way to gain it is through you and the baby. Before she can respond, a Hale board member approaches them, his smile too polished to be genuine. Noah, he says, extending a hand, I have been looking everywhere for you. Noah does not shake his hand. Leon, he replies, voice flat. I doubt that. Leon turns his attention to Ava with a sympathetic tilt of his head. Miss Hart, I am glad to finally meet you. Congratulations on your situation. Ava stiffens at the word. Noah steps slightly in front of her. Say what you came to say. Leon chuckles, as if amused by Noah's impatience. The board has been discussing tomorrow's vote. There are concerns about your emotional state, your ability to remain objective, your willingness to prioritize the company. If you are here to threaten me, you should know I am not interested, Noah cuts in. Leon's smile tightens. Not a threat. Just an offer. Step aside voluntarily and the board will ensure Miss Hart and the child receive generous protection and resources. It will be a smooth transition. No backlash. Noah laughs once, humorless. Protection from what? You? Leon's eyes darken. From the consequences of bad decisions. Ava's pulse spikes with unease. What does that mean? Leon's gaze flicks to her stomach. You are carrying an heir that both families desperately need to control. The sooner you understand your position, the safer you will be. Noah takes a sharp step forward, his voice low and lethal. She is not a bargaining chip. Then stop treating her like one, Leon snaps. By refusing a contract that stabilizes both families, you are putting her at risk. If you truly care about her, you will stop fighting and let the board take over. Ava feels the words like cold water down her spine. Noah exhales slowly, gripping the edge of his temper. We are done here. Walk away. Leon smirks. Enjoy your evening. It may be your last one with influence. He turns and disappears into the crowd. Ava presses a hand to her chest to steady her breathing. Noah, he is serious. They are going to move against you. Let them try, Noah mutters, but the tightness in his jaw betrays him. She touches his arm. What happens if they replace you? What happens to us? Noah faces her fully, the weight of responsibility etched into his expression. Then we fight harder. I will not let them dictate our lives. Before she can reply, a sudden swell of commotion bursts from the main hall. Guests murmur, turning to look at a large screen near the stage. Ava's stomach twists as she sees her own face flashing across it, followed by headlines she has never seen before. Pregnant heiress hides secret scandal. Hart family in disarray. Baby used to force Hale merger? Noah's breath hitches. They leaked it. Ava's knees weaken. But how? We were careful. Only a few people knew. Someone from inside, Noah says. Mara, Leon, or someone they hired. Guests begin whispering, pointing. A few take photos discreetly, waiting to see Noah's reaction. We have to leave, Noah says, taking her hand firmly. Now. They break through the crowd, weaving toward the exit, but each step feels heavier as the headlines play again and again, shaping a narrative neither of them can escape. The moment they push through the glass doors into the night air, Ava hears Noah exhale shakily, the first crack in his self-control all evening. She looks up at him. This is bad, Noah. I know, he admits. But it is only the beginning. And as they disappear into the waiting SUV, unaware of the camera flashes catching every step, Ava realizes the truth settling in her chest like a stone. The families have chosen war. And the first shots have already been fired. The SUV speeds away from the museum with its tinted windows shielding them from the chaos outside, but the tension inside the vehicle is thick enough to choke on. Ava sits pressed against the leather seat, her hands trembling despite her efforts to hide it. Noah is beside her, phone buzzing non-stop in his palm as messages from board members, journalists, and family flood in. He silences it with a sharp tap, his jaw tight. They planned this, he mutters. The leak, the timing, the headlines. All of it. Ava swallows hard. To force you out. To force control, Noah corrects. If they make us look chaotic, they can justify rewriting the entire contract without my input. They want power over the baby, the narrative, everything. Ava presses a hand to her stomach protectively. What do we do now? Noah finally turns to her, his expression softening. First, we get you somewhere safe. My suite at Hale Tower is the most secure place right now. No one gets in without clearance, not even my family. The SUV pulls into the underground entrance of the tower, bypassing the lobby entirely. Security ushers them into a private elevator, and moments later they are back inside the quiet sanctuary of the 38th floor suite. The contrast between the chaos outside and the calm interior makes Ava feel momentarily unsteady. She sinks onto the couch, taking slow breaths. Noah paces the room, running a hand through his hair. I should have seen this coming. Mara has been waiting for an opportunity like this for years. And Leon, he is the board's shadow puppeteer. This is exactly the kind of move he would orchestrate. Ava watches him, her voice quiet. If they vote tomorrow, if they remove you, will you still have any say over the contract? Noah stops pacing. His silence is answer enough. Ava's chest tightens. Noah, he goes to her immediately, kneeling in front of her, taking her hands. Listen to me. I am not letting them take control of you or the baby. I do not care what vote happens tomorrow. We will fight. But how, she whispers. They have everything. Influence, money, power. Noah lifts her hands to his lips, pressing a steady kiss against her knuckles. Then we build our own power. Ava looks at him, unsure whether to believe him or fear what that means. Before she can respond, a shrill alert sounds from Noah's phone. He checks it, and his face goes pale. What is it? Ava asks. A message from the Hale legal team, he says, voice flat. He shows her the screen. A draft contract. Not the one they reviewed earlier. A new one. A cold one. A contract with clauses designed to strip Ava of authority, to grant guardianship to the Hale board, to remove Noah from any legal decision-making until a formal review of his fitness is complete. Every line is worse than the last. They cannot do this, Ava whispers, panic rising. They cannot just take you out of the contract. They can if I am no longer the heir, Noah says quietly. The vote tomorrow decides everything. Ava rises to her feet, gripping the edge of the table to steady herself. Noah, this is not just business. This is our child. How can they treat a baby like a corporate asset? Noah moves to her, placing both hands on her arms. Because that is how they see the world. But we do not have to let them decide our future. Her breathing quickens. So what do we do? We cannot stop the vote. We cannot stop the media. We cannot stop your family. Maybe we cannot, Noah says, but we can choose something they cannot overturn. His eyes lock onto hers with a fierce determination. Ava, if we marry tonight, before the vote, before the board can interfere, then the contract becomes irrelevant. They cannot rewrite a marriage that already exists. They cannot remove me from a position they have no legal leverage over. And most importantly, they cannot touch you or the baby without going through both of us together. Ava stares at him, stunned. Tonight? Noah, that is huge. I know, he says gently. And I am not saying it has to be romantic. I am not asking for anything you are not ready to give. But legally, emotionally, strategically, it is the only way to protect you. Are you asking me to marry you? She whispers. Not asking, he says, stepping closer. Offering you a choice no one else has given you. She feels the room tilt slightly. But this morning we were fighting a contract. And now you want a real marriage. Noah's voice softens. A real marriage gives us power. A contract gives them power. Ava's hand drifts to her stomach again. If we do this, once we are married, everything changes. Yes, Noah says quietly. But it changes in our favor. Silence settles between them, heavy and fragile. The city lights glitter through the windows, casting the room in soft gold. Ava looks at Noah, at the man who has stood between her and two feuding empires, who has challenged his father's dynasty, who has protected her without hesitation. Ava, he says, voice barely above a whisper, I will not force you. But if we wait until morning, the decision will not be yours anymore. Her heart pounds. Her breath trembles. And somewhere deep inside, a decision begins to form. Slowly. Carefully. Terrifyingly. She looks into Noah's eyes, sees the truth and fear and sincerity there, and realizes the impossible choice she must make before dawn breaks and the board decides everything for them. For a long moment, Ava just stands there in the quiet suite, the distant city lights flickering across the glass as if the whole skyline is waiting for her answer. Her heart thunders in her chest, not from fear alone but from the magnitude of the choice in front of her. Noah waits without pushing, without pleading, simply standing there with the steady patience of a man who has already decided exactly where he stands. Finally, Ava exhales, a long trembling breath that seems to carry days of pressure out of her lungs. All right, she whispers. If this is the only way to protect our child, then yes. I will marry you. Tonight. Something shifts in Noah's expression, a combination of relief, gratitude, and something deeper he does not try to hide this time. Ava, thank you. She nods once, her voice steadier the second time. But this is not a merger. This is not a performance. If we do this, it is because it is the right choice for our child. Nothing else. Noah steps closer, lowering his head. I understand. And I promise you this, no matter what happens after tonight, I am on your side. Always. A soft knock interrupts them. One of Noah's most trusted security officers enters, handing Noah a secure tablet. Sir, they finalized the new contract draft. The vote is scheduled for 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. And there are additional clauses you need to see. Noah scrolls, his face hardening with every line. They added a clause declaring the child corporate property if I am removed as heir. They are not even pretending to hide it anymore. Ava's breath catches. Corporate property? Noah, this is monstrous. He closes the tablet with a sharp click. Then we make sure none of this matters. He turns to the security officer. Prepare the private chapel on the 41st floor. Get a licensed officiant. And shut down elevator access. No one enters that level without my direct code. Yes, sir, the officer says before disappearing again. Ava swallows hard, clutching her hands together. Do we tell my mother? Noah shakes his head gently. If we tell anyone, word will spread. Mara will interfere. The board will send legal representatives. Your father's advisors will find a way to block it. The only safe way is to do this quietly. Ava nods, even though her stomach twists with nerves. Then let us do it quietly. Within minutes, the suite shifts into motion. A Hale security team rearranges access to the floor. A discreet officiant arrives, signing confidentiality documents so thick they could qualify as a novel. And at the center of it all, Ava stands in the soft glow of warm lights as Noah approaches her with two simple wedding bands resting in a velvet box. I know this is not the wedding you imagined, he says, his voice gentle. No guests, no flowers, no music, just us trying to take back control. Ava looks at the rings, then at him. Noah, after the day we had, this is the first thing that feels like a choice. The officiant clears his throat softly. If the two of you are ready, we can begin. They face each other. Noah reaches for her hands, and she lets him take them, surprised by how steady his touch feels. The officiant speaks the traditional vows, the simple kind, not tailored to wealth, not crafted to impress shareholders or families. Just words. Honest words. Words that sound startlingly real in the quiet. Do you, Noah Hale, take Ava Hart to be your lawfully wedded wife? Noah looks at her, something warm and raw burning behind his eyes. I do, he says. Without hesitation. The officiant continues. And do you, Ava Hart, take Noah Hale to be your lawfully wedded husband? Ava takes a slow breath and meets Noah's gaze. I do, she whispers, and the moment the words leave her, something inside her settles in a way she did not expect. The officiant nods, signing the digital certificate with a stylus. Then by the authority vested in me by the state, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Noah lifts her hand and presses a gentle kiss against her knuckles, sealing the moment with a tenderness that makes her heart ache. She had prepared herself for something cold, something businesslike, but instead she feels something warm spread through her chest. The officiant leaves quietly. The security team withdraws. And suddenly the suite is silent again, leaving them standing in the middle of a life-changing decision with nothing but each other and the soft hum of the city outside. Noah releases a breath that sounds like he has been holding it for years. Ava, he says softly, you are my wife now. And tomorrow, no matter what they try to do, they cannot erase that. She steps closer, resting a hand over her stomach. We did this for our child. That is the only thing that matters. It is not the only thing that matters, Noah says quietly, his eyes fixed on her with a depth she is not ready to name. Before she can respond, Noah's phone buzzes with a secure alert. He checks it, then shows her the message. It is short. It is cold. And it is everything they feared. The board is meeting early, Ava reads aloud, her voice tightening. They want to remove you before sunrise. Noah meets her eyes, steady and unshaken. Let them try. They cannot touch us now. They cannot rewrite who we are. Ava inhales slowly, letting the truth settle. Whatever comes next, they face it together, bound not by contracts or threats or corporate demands, but by a decision made in the quiet hours of the night when two people chose family over fear. She reaches for Noah's hand. he closes his fingers around hers. And together they stand in the glow of the city, ready for the war that tomorrow will bring, but no longer afraid of it, because they are no longer fighting alone.